live. News 8 at 6 starts now.
It is a tragic day in the city of Norwich. A 1-month-old infant boy was attacked by the family's dog.
While a family is grieving the loss of a baby, they're grappling with why their dog would turn on them.
There are some unusual circumstances with this fire. Does not appear to be accidental.
And on top of such tragedy, the baby's father is wanted for questioning in a fire set in New London hours after his child died.
We have team coverage for you tonight. News 8's Sabina Kuriakos has the newest details on what unfolded inside that home in Norwich.
But first, let's start in New London. News 8's Tina Detel is live with the latest in the search for 32-year-old Timothy Settles. Tina.
You know, this house here at 10 Rosemary Street is the last place police say 32-year-old Timothy Settles was seen. Now, that was just moments before the fire was started early this morning here, and also just hours after his son was tragically killed by the family dog in Norwich. Now, police say Settles was in the enclosed porch area of the New London home, which is where the fire started. Firefighters were called here at 4 a.m. They say everyone in the building made it out safely, but the owner was quite upset and was sent to the hospital for observation. Now, police call Settles a person of interest in this fire, which now through him is connected to that tragic dog attack in Norwich.
Mr. Settles is the father of the infant who was killed in Norwich by the dog, correct?
And what's his connection to this building here?
We're working on that right now. We don't know if he has a connection or if there's a family connection to this building.
Now, Settles is described as being 6 feet tall, 240 pounds, and has a scar on the top of his forehead. Now, again, he is the father of that little boy who tragically died in Norwich. My colleague, Sabina Kuriakos, has more now on that part of the story.
Police say this was a terrible, tragic accident. The family dog killing a newborn baby, seemingly attacking out of the blue.
For him to be that young and not to have a chance at life, it just tears you up. Just tears you up.
David Pepin lives across the street from this apartment building on McKinley Avenue, where police say 1-month-old Carter Settles was killed. He and other neighbors looked on and listened in horror as the attack happened. There was nothing they could do.
Heard the screaming and the people running all over the place, going crazy, you know, hysterics.
The infant sustained multiple traumatic injuries.
The baby boy dead by the time police arrived. Carter was home with his mother and grandmother. He was in one of their arms when the dog attacked. Police say the family gave no indication as to what might have led the animal to bite, and they're still looking into whether the pet had a history of aggression. Neighbor Pepin says the dog was a longtime member of that family.
I've seen the dog. I think I saw it yesterday out there with one of the guys walking it. That was black and white. The one I saw, yeah. Big, good size.
Loved ones, responding officers, and medics all reeling in grief at the horror of what they saw.
They're dealing with something that was ripped away from them. As you can imagine, any person in that type of environment would be grieving and confused about the whole thing.
The baby's father, Timothy Settles, was not home at the time of the attack. It was his mom who was home with the baby when it happened. The dog is at the city pound. Police have not yet sought to destroy him. They say they are following Department of Agriculture guidelines. He is in quarantine for the next 2 weeks. In Norwich, Sabina Kuriakos, News 8.
Now we're following breaking news out of Vernon. Police are investigating a shooting at the Terrace Drive apartment.
News 8's Bob Wilson is live there now with what he's been able to learn so far. Bob?
That happened just after 4:15 this afternoon. Police got here, found a man suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital and airlifted to Hartford Hospital. The injuries were that serious. Right now, they're continuing to canvass the scene. They say there are a group of people. They would describe them as a group of people that were detained, and what they're doing right now is talking to them. Some they believe are witnesses, others they're trying to figure out the role in this. They believe the two parties knew each other, but right now they say they're actively looking for several suspects who have fled the scene right now. So they have a good portion of this Park West Apartments locked down right now, or parts of it taken apart. They've blocked it off. Lockdown is not exactly the correct term because people are free to come and go, but they are actively looking for suspects here in Vernon. That's what's going on here. I'm Bob Wilson reporting live, News 8.
Bob, thank you. Should Governor Lamont keep his pandemic powers? That's one of two major bills being debated at the Capitol today. The first, a constitutional amendment to allow no-excuse absentee ballot voting in elections. The second, whether to extend the governor's powers through July. A report tonight from News 8 chief political correspondent Jody Latina.
We feel pretty good where we are with COVID, so I think we're more flexible now than maybe we were a year ago.
But with flexibility comes caution. Along party lines, House lawmakers are voting to extend the governor's pandemic powers through July 20th.
Which is disappointing.
Republicans fear extending the powers will deny landlords some of their rights.
We cannot continue to deny people access to their property and the ability to receive rent from their properties.
The governor's office tells News 8 all of the sector rules will end on May 19th, except for the indoor mask requirement.
I think what we're trying to do is ensure that he can maintain the flexibility that the governor needs to act in an emergency situation.
In addition to extending the governor's powers, a separate bill would temporarily give the legislature power to approve or deny any new orders. The leaders would have veto power over the governor.
If the legislature authorized the extension and there's a particular executive order the legislative leaders don't like, they can veto it. So it's a very different mechanism for the next 9-10 months.
A committee of 5 will come up with new permanent rules.
But we just don't know what the next emergency is going to be. We want to have the best minds who really deal in emergency management spaces give us some advice before we pass a bill next year and codify it.
That, I think, is a significant victory for us, that the legislature is now going to have a say on when declarations are extended.
The Senate will have to take up the measure before next Wednesday. That's when the current powers expire. At the state capitol in Hartford, Jody Latina, News 8.
Out of the Capitol, the amendment to the state constitution to allow for no-excuse absentee ballot voting during an election is expected to pass, but lawmakers are not expected to get that 75% threshold required to get a question on the ballot in 2022. Republicans vow to vote against the amendment because they're worried about invalid signatures in the verification process and other safeguards.
If you don't have the proper safeguards, it's going to invite fraud, and that's our concern. We have had people arrested for absentee ballot voter fraud in the state of Connecticut, and so I think you have that issue weighing on the voters' minds as well.
I think the goal should be to make it easier to vote, and I don't question people's motives on this. I don't think they're trying to make it political. I certainly hope not. But it is disappointing that we can't get to 75%, and I think that's what the voters want.
After today, the measure will move on to the state Senate. Ultimately, the amendment will have to come back to a new legislature for consideration, which will not happen until the year 2023.
Connecticut's Attorney General is calling on Facebook to stop the launch of a new social media platform for kids. We'll hear about that.
And let's take a live look outside at Dunkin' Donuts Park in Hartford. It's opening day for the Yard Goats. We're live with all the action coming up in sports.
Instagram plans to launch a version of its app for kids 13 and under, but a bipartisan group of attorneys general are urging them not to go through with this. News 8's Eva Zamora says Connecticut is in this fight. She joins us live from Hartford. Eva.
Well, good evening to you, Ann. Attorney General William Tong is in that group. They do believe this is a bad idea, especially for kids. Now, this week, 44 attorneys general, including Attorney General Tong, sent a letter to Facebook, which does own Instagram. In this letter, they expressed concerns about social media's effect on children. They do fear that launching Instagram for kids will only impact their physical and emotional well-being, increase the risk of cyberbullying, and possibly open them up to predators. As the push to shut down these plans continue, Attorney General Tong is urging and reminding parents to be mindful of what their kids are doing online.
Be careful. Set rules about devices, set rules about apps and social media platforms. Enforce those rules. Be your own mini attorney general at home and make sure that kids are following the law that you lay down with respect to their devices.
We got a statement from Instagram about this as well, which reads in part, quote, "We are developing these experiences in consultation with experts in child development, child safety and mental health, and privacy advocates. We also look forward to working with legislators and regulators, including the nation's attorneys general." Now, it is unknown at this time when this version of the app will launch. Now, we do have Instagram's full statement for you right on the News 8 website and app. Live in Hartford tonight, I'm Eva Zamaris, News 8.
Looking for ways to keep your child busy this summer? I'm Ken Houston, and I know just the place, and it's all free of charge.
And we've got some nice May weather out there right now. It's going to get a little bit warmer. Let's take a look at the 8-day forecast coming up.
Tonight, starting at 8 on Connecticut's only 3-hour primetime newscast, preparing for a potential nursing home strike. We're hearing from the National Guard about how they will be working with the health department to keep people safe.
And people all across the country are enjoying one local baker's tasty treats. We'll introduce you to Charlie and his cookies on Nyberg. Connecticut's only 3-hour primetime newscast starts at 8 on WTNH.
Those cookies look good, especially right now. Governor Lamont wants to allow people 18 and younger to visit museums across Connecticut free of charge this summer. And part of that plan includes the state's only zoo. News 8's Ken Houston reports from the Beardsley Zoo.
Summer's just around the corner and COVID restrictions are lifting, which means your child will need something to do. Governor Lamont is asking the legislature to approve a $15 million proposal allowing children to visit the Beardsley Zoo, museums, and cultural venues across the state to get them active once again.
It would allow for free admission to children 18 and under with one accompanying adult.
And what's a zoo without a farmyard? This is bound to be one of the more popular areas once the expansion is fully opened in June.
We had it closed for 2 years through the pandemic, and now we're opening it up again. We've done a lot of work in there, so coming back to see our farmyard reopened for this summer will be a tremendous impact for the kids.
Tourism generates some $2.2 billion for the state of Connecticut and supports at least 85,000 jobs.
We know that the Norwalk Aquarium and the Mystic Aquarium have both expressed interest in being part of this program.
For children and parents looking for an escape from remote learning, a trip to places like the Beardsley Zoo is a win-win situation.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. We've been coming to the zoo here for many years. Our school has, and we always have an exciting time. The kids are very excited to be here. It's our first field trip this year.
And provided the legislature signs off on the governor's proposal, children along with an adult will be able to enjoy a trip to the zoo and other designated locations free of charge. This will all start July 1st through September 6th. In Bridgeport, Ken Houston, News 8.
Hi, Ken, thanks. Hi, everybody. All right, let's head out to Fort Nathan Hale. Yes, the fishing pier today. New Haven, a great spot to be out and about with today. The sun out, some fair weather clouds, a nice little breeze happening. Of course, the pollen count high, but certainly a nice day to be out there and know that, again, and I keep emphasizing this only because I've seen some get caught with this. You're out on a day like today, the sun, it's strong. It's high in the sky this time of year, and you can get burned if you don't have a hat or the sunscreen on. Today, well, the breeze was of note, and, well, the higher up in elevation you went, the cooler it was. 62 right now at Long Wharf. Waterbury, some blue sky, and the clouds there, and a nice green landscape. Yeah, that pollen count is still sky high with Hartford in at 63 degrees. So, yeah, the light jacket as we move along through into this evening. The breeze continues, gusting 23 at Hartford, 24 at New Haven. And that water temperature in Long Island Sound right now is at 52 degrees. So the wind off the land, not off that 52-degree water, allowed the temperature to be up right about where it should be for this time of year. At the shoreline today, Sikorsky at 66, Tweed at 65, 63 at New London, 64 at Hartford. The average high in the Hartford area is 70. It's down to 61 now at Bradley. You see the hilltops. Torrington at 54. Oxford, Waterbury's down to 58. And, well, you did have a little bit of a sea breeze at New London, but now the wind's gone back off the land. So it just went up about 5 degrees. Look how cool it is off to the west. So we downslope the wind off the mountains, and it compresses, warms, and we don't have to deal with the 40s. Don't have to deal with much in the way of any showers or sprinkles out there. So we're dry as we go through this evening. The consistent wind out there with that water temperature at 52. So maybe a sprinkle somewhere this evening. Otherwise, 40s to start tomorrow. Few 30s in the Bakervilles and Staffordvilles and the Burvilles early tomorrow. Highs tomorrow in the 60s, mixed sun and clouds, little lighter wind. Overall, pretty good day. Can't run out a scattered evening shower again. Most of you will not receive one. Into the 40s again to start your Thursday. Thursday, nice day. 70 inland, 60s at the coast. Do the same thing again on Friday. Great weather. And then maybe the best shot for the shower for everybody would be late Saturday. Overall, the 8-day forecast is not bad. No big storms. Most of the time will be dry. And look at those temperatures. We like to see the 70-degree temperatures. Did I say it?
Yes, we do indeed. East Haven firefighters and animal control saved some ducklings today. They were trapped in a storm drain. That was on Hemingway Avenue. All in a day's work. Another rescue in nearby Branford. The fire department and animal control saving a horse named Little Bit from the mud. They got him out in about 20 minutes before the tides changed, and he's doing just fine.
Good to hear. The Hartford Yard Goats opening up their season at home tonight, and it is a sold-out game. We are live at Dunkin' Donuts Park when we come back.
Welcome back, everyone. For the first time in 621 days, the Hartford Yard Goats are playing a home game. The Goats host the Portland Sea Dogs, the Red Sox AA affiliate. Fans are heading back to the park, too, and that's also where we find Eric Dobratz. And Eric, must feel nice to be back at the ballpark for a little Yard Goats action, huh?
I'll tell you, John, it's unbelievable to be back out here. 621 days since they last played a home game. And they have the bacon-wrapped munchkins right around the corner here, so it's going to be tough getting through this live.
I know you'll get some of those.
As you mentioned, the city is open. The city of Hartford is open. The players are back on the field. The fans are here. All the workers are here. It's just such an exciting night. 50% capacity, so about 3,000 fans. Yard Goats have been playing already. They had a road trip in Richmond, Virginia. They were 1-5, so they can use a little home cooking. Joining us now, the broadcaster, the play-by-play voice of the Yard Goats, Mr. Jeff Dooley. And Jeff, first of all, how exciting is it to be back home?
Oh, this is awesome. I mean, you said it. August of 2019, last time the Goats played a home game. So we're just so thrilled to celebrate opening day with our fans tonight, Eric.
How hard has it been for you to be away from the team and be away from your other family here at the ballpark?
Yeah, it's been tough, you know, just going a season without playing. And you just, they're, like you said, they're extended family, seeing you guys here as well. I mean, we missed all that. So hopefully we're part of people's routine and we can help bring people back to some normalcy.
Well, let's talk about the team. 1-5 start, tough road trip. For fans coming out this week, who should they look at? Who should they watch? Tell me about the team.
Well, so far we've got a couple of players that are off to good starts. Montero, who's the first baseman, he's a big prospect. Alejandro Montero, who actually was dealt to the Rockies in the Nolan Arenado trade. And a first-round pick, Ryan Rollison, who's off to a good start, too. One of the pitchers, 18th overall pick out of Ole Miss. So he's a guy to watch for as well. So there's definitely some good players on the team this year. 3 players on the 40-man Major League roster. And I always say you don't know who's going to be the next future star in the Major Leagues, Eric. 33 former Yard Goats now in the big leagues.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. In 5 years, really.
All right, first pitch coming up in just a little bit. Jeff will be behind the mic. We'll be here with highlights later on tonight on News 8 at 10 and 11. Live in Hartford, I'm Eric Dobratz, News 8 Sports.
All right, Eric, thank you. Enjoy those bacon-wrapped munchkins there. The Yankees are trying to hold off a COVID issue with the club. Reports are 5 coaches are positive. The team has confirmed that third base coach Phil Nevin is positive. He's now in quarantine. Nevin has been vaccinated. The team awaiting test results for the rest of the staff. Aaron Boone says the game with Tampa tonight in Tampa will go on. First baseman Luke Voigt is expected back for the game with the Rays. Voigt has been rehabbing in Syracuse for the last week. We've done a lot of stories over the years about siblings on the same high school teams, but I'm not sure we've done a story about a brother and sister on the same team. Today at Traditions Golf Course in Wallingford, Maddie and Daniel Lador teed off for the North Haven team. Maddie is a senior, Dan is a freshman. During the pandemic, Maddie was looking for a spring sport to play and decided to join her brother on the golf team. A unique experience for both that they'll never forget.
It's fun, a little competitive. He's always like, oh, I beat you in that hole, but I beat him in some holes sometimes.
I thought it was pretty cool, yeah, because I've never been on the same team with her before, and this is our only year in school together.
It's brotherly and sisterly love. They were kind of giving each other a little bit and you know, pushing each other, so it's a good dynamic, I think.
The Doors in North Haven played Amity this afternoon and came up just a little bit short against the Spartans. All right, that's going to do it for sports. Here's Joe with the last peek at that forecast. Joe?
All right, John, no significant rain in sight. The 8-day forecast has temperatures, well, 60s and maybe around or over 70 inland. So it should be mainly dry right on through Friday, and we're hoping the weekend is doing great, too. Dennis, Ann?
All right, thanks so much, and thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
World News Tonight with David Muir is coming up next right here on Channel 10. Have a great night, everybody.